Hey ladies, I'm back. And today I'm going to help you with your dating profile to set you apart from the crowd, to attract higher quality men. Because a lot of you have been complaining, where are all the good men these days? And I know, I get it. I understand. We guys have the same complaint, where are all the good women, right? And I think part of the reason for this is through no fault of our own. One direction that society is trying to push us in right now is for men to act like women and women to act like men. And I think that's counterproductive with regards to mating and dating and all the good things that involve one of each gender. One of each of the two genders, that is. And of course, that's that crisis on the genders is another discussion for another time. But there are some things that you can do, since I do see a lot more female dating profiles than male profiles, to circumvent this crisis and to attract higher quality males by setting yourself apart from the crowd. And that is by not marketing most of what you put on your dating profile as hobbies when really they're not. Because a hobby, as we'll define it for the sake of these 10 points that are to come, it is a noun, a niche interest or pursuit engaged in for enjoyment or relaxation. For example, bird watching and gardening. They're niche because they're things that not everyone does. Most people don't do them. It can be fun, enjoying to watch birds play in your backyard, or to develop a deeper interest into one type of bird and observe its mating patterns, its migration patterns, its feeding habits, etc. Gardening, not something that everyone does, but it's very enjoying and relaxing to plant a seed, to water it, to watch it grow into something that is useful, either food or flowers, which make your space beautiful and therefore more relaxing. These are hobbies. But these top 10 things that I'm about to list are not hobbies. So either word them in a different way or just take them off of your dating profile altogether, because usually, as guys, being more visually oriented, your goods are usually enough to let us know whether or not we're interested or should be interested. Anyway, here are the top 10 things that you think are hobbies, but they're really not. The first thing, having fun. In philosophy, we call this a tautology. Basically, you're saying that one equals one. Since we've defined hobby roughly as something that you do for fun, what you're really saying is one of your having fun activities is having fun. Not only does this not set you apart from the crowd, I mean, everyone likes to have fun in their own way. It makes you sound kind of retarded. Number 2, dancing. Dancing is not a hobby unless you're into a niche form of dancing like salsa or tap dancing, or maybe you're a ballerina. That's cool. It's something you do for the sake of itself. Maybe you did it competitively at some point. That would be a hobby. But when you just say that I like to dance, what we take that to mean is you like to go to the club, get fucked up, and be a hoe on the dance floor. And although some of us find that attractive, it's not a hobby. It's more of a mating call. Number 3, working out. Look, all people need to work out to some degree to keep the blood flowing, stay active, to live a long and sustainable life. So it's more something that we need rather than something we do for fun. Now, one consequence of, say, playing soccer or playing tennis or, doing something fun, even playing chess is a mental workout. One of the consequences of that is that you get a workout, but you do that activity because you enjoy it. You don't necessarily do it primarily for exercise. Although it's always some combination of that, especially when you get to a certain age, right? But working out in itself is not a hobby. It's more of a need that we have as animals that have circulatory systems. And I'm reluctant here, but I would say that CrossFit could be a hobby because it is niche. And a lot of people do enjoy it, and it's relaxing for them to some degree, but more of in a way that's addictive, like because working out and doing it too much, pushing yourself to the limit, sort of gives you an endorphin spike in your brain, and that can be addictive and ultimately just as harmful as doing heroin. And also people who are into CrossFit, all they want to talk about on your first date is CrossFit. So unless you're into that too, it's going to put a stunt on conversation. Therefore, it's not really a hobby. Number 4, shopping is not a hobby. Shopping is not a hobby. Shopping is not a fucking hobby. I'm not even going to explain this one. It's just not. Moving on. Number 5, spending time with friends. We're human beings. We're social creatures. We have to socialize or else we go insane. That's why solitary confinement, although I would prefer that if I had to go to prison because I'm kind of weird. Solitary confinement is seen as like a worse sentence, a punishment in prison. Because even though the guys that you're hanging out with in prison are not the best guys, they're not going to be the best influence on you socially. It's still a punishment to be locked away from other human beings, even in the worst of circumstances. So spending time with friends is not a hobby. It's a need. And if we don't have it, we are going to be very mentally unhealthy as human animals. Now, of course, shooting the shit, you can have certain topics of discussion that are niche, but really you're shooting the shit for enjoyment and relaxation. And guys are really good at this, We like to shoot the shit. We get together, we talk about our shared interests, we talk about women, and it's funny, and it's cool, and it's entertaining, and it's weird, and it's gross. I think that's why women kind of hate it, is because, women have to have, a reason to do something that sort of revolves around their needs, I think, which is maybe why men are more likely to have hobbies than women. But women don't like when guys just kind of shoot the shit and enjoy socializing for the sake of itself. Like when women get together and socialize, as I've observed in an all-women setting, yeah, they talk about guys. They might talk about things they're interested in. They might talk about themselves, but it's not funny. It doesn't seem it doesn't seem like they're enjoying themselves. It's just mean, They're all just agreeing on certain things, and they form a cult, and it's kind of scary. I don't know. Maybe you'll like that. Leave comments below, and we'll talk about it. Please show me, teach me, or don't. Maybe I shouldn't know that. Anyway, 6. Moving on. Being a dog mom. All right. First of all, a lot of women have a dog to compensate for the fact that they don't have a man or don't have a baby. That's why they call themselves a dog mom. On the man end, a big dog can offer protection and security and affection that a man typically would. So women don't feel like they need a boyfriend because they have a big dog. On the baby end, it gives you something to assert your maternal instinct onto. But a dog isn't your baby, It's just a retarded 2-year-old, and it's going to stay that way forever. A baby grows into a person, and that's part of the creative and intellectual and maternal challenge of raising a baby, is to turn it into a person. A dog is just a sheep in that way. It stays a dog. It stays a retarded 2-year-old. It's not your baby. So being a dog mom, though, being a dog owner, carries a certain set of obligations that you need to fulfill to keep the dog alive. It's another living thing. And giving it a walk, spending time with it, and watching it shit in your neighbor's yard, it's not a hobby. It's just stuff that you have to do as a dog owner. And it's not niche, because everybody has a fucking dog these days, and it's really annoying. Number 7, sex is not a hobby. Everyone either has sex or likes to have sex or would like to have sex if they could have sex. Therefore, sex is not a hobby. Also, we need to have sex to keep our species alive and going. So anything that's necessary, if you haven't picked up on that, necessary for a set goal, i.e., keeping our species alive, cannot be a hobby. This is something you just enjoy for the sake of itself. There is a side of that to sex. Of course, sex can be used for recreation as well. But it's not a hobby unless you're into some niche form of sex, like BDSM or some sort of fetish. In which case, however, that would still not be a hobby because everyone I've met personally who is into that sort of stuff has deep psychological issues, insecurities, etc., daddy issues that they're compensating for, that they're dealing with in expressing themselves in that sexual way. And that's really the primary reason that those people have those niche interests, sexual interests. It's not simply because they enjoy it. So sex is a necessity, not a hobby. 8, watching movies and TV. Look, it's not niche. Most people like movies or TV. I have a friend who really loves trauma films. She knows a lot about the history of trauma films. She's seen a lot of trauma films. It's a specific genre of sort of cheesy B-movie horror film, And she can make very sophisticated and interesting qualitative distinctions between trauma films. She knows a lot about it. It's a hobby because it's niche and she really enjoys it. But to say that you like watching movies or TV, binging Netflix, etc. in general, that's not specific enough to constitute a hobby. It just means that you don't have anything else to do sometimes. Just take that off. If you're going to date someone, you're probably going to end up watching movies or binging TV shows with them at some point anyway. So it's just not necessary to have that on your profile. 9, social media. Everyone is on social media for one or any combination of these 4 reasons. 1, to document their life. 2, to seek validation for their insecurities, i.e., mirror selfies. 3, to market a product that they're trying to sell through a business, service, whatever. Or 4, to do what I do, and that's just to put out there whatever is randomly on my mind, whether it's some text or through images, shitty cell phone photography of some artsy thing that I see out there, to just give the world an insight about what's going on in my head. Everyone uses social media for one or a combination of those 3 purposes, and also pretty much everyone is on social media, therefore it is not niche. There's always some motivation behind it. It's not strictly for enjoyment or relaxation. In fact, it's not relaxing at all. For young women in particular, who have seen an epidemic, high increase in mental health disorders as a direct result of being on social media. So I think social media can be used for good, but it's mostly a force for evil and definitely not a hobby. It's another discussion for another time. Number 10, eating. Ladies, food is not a hobby unless you're into a very specific type of food and learn about the history of it and the culinary side of it. Eating is not a hobby. I know a lot of you put on your profile, I love pizza, I love sushi. But it's better to say that in a way that gives us guys an idea of what to, where to take you on our first date, rather than to say, my hobby is pizza or sushi. It just makes you sound like a huge pig. So these are, and plus we have to eat to survive, right? Again, it's a necessity, not a niche interest, meant for relaxation or enjoyment. So these are the top 10 things that ladies put on their dating profiles, and maybe some guys have a combination of these things as well. But they don't set you apart from the crowd. They don't make you seem interesting, and they're definitely not hobbies as we've defined hobby. Now, here's the good news, ladies. We guys, we're so easy. When it comes down to it, you don't even need a dating profile. You just need pictures. If you're hot enough, we're interested. And even if you do have some interests, we don't care that much. I mean, guys date and marry down the dominance hierarchy of society, So we don't care how much money you have. We don't really care what you do for a living. We don't care what you do in your spare time. We just want you to like us for who we are. Maybe not for what we do, but for the fact that we do them. Guys have hobbies. Guys, we like sports. We like certain intellectual and artistic things, and you guys do too. Such as, women who quit their job and pursue like hair, makeup, art, stuff like that. That's a hobby, something that you're really passionate about that you can monetize. But you're more likely to monetize them rather than keep them hobbies than guys are, I think. But anyway, not to go off on too far of a tangent, we guys are really easy. You're better off leaving your profile blank and just having pictures than listing some of these things on your profile, because it doesn't set you apart from your competition. And at the end of the day, we don't care if you have hobbies at all. Again, we just don't want you to interfere or have a problem with us expressing ourselves through our hobbies. So if you want to participate or be a fangirl of us for our hobbies, that's great. Just don't tell us that our interests are problematic for you. Because although some guys will bow down to this, well, those just aren't the good guys that you are looking for anyway. So, hope you enjoyed it. Hope it helps you. And I'll see you next time. Cheers.